Is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
For too long, American Indian tribes have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan, LLP, seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation in Indian country. They have worked hand-in-hand with tribes to implement the Tribal Law and Order Act, fighting against diminishment of tribal lands and natural resources, and improving public safety on reservations. The Robbins Kaplan American Indian Law and Policy Practice serves tribes and individuals on commercial, government investigations, agency and tribal boundary disputes, as well as personal injury. Founded and led by former United States Attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian Law and Policy Practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. If you or your tribe are facing legal issues, contact robinskaplan.com or call toll-free at 1-800-553-9910.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Snow tonight with a low about 8. Winds could gust up to 35 miles per hour. Then Tuesday, heavy snow at times with a high of 12. Check out Cafe Latte's award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and treats from the bakery made fresh daily. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul. CafeLatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. Hear me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. I just want to get a hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives out there listening all over. We're in Madison, Milwaukee, the Twin Cities. We're just really and all over the interweb. So we're really grooving on that here. Today we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to have Nancy Beaulieu of Bimi'ji 350 check in with us. And then tomorrow we have a special show where we'll have Bobby Wilson of Reservation Dogs and the other show that he's on too. I can't remember. Ogama, help me here. Are you listening here to me? No. Rutherford Falls, yes. And so he'll be on tomorrow. We did a pre-record because he's busy. They just finished up Rutherford Falls shooting, and now they're starting to shoot Reservation Dogs for the next 3-4 months, and excited for this young warrior who's originally from the Twin Cities. And of course, so we have he is a writer, and he was on a couple of series, and then with Rutherford Falls he plays casino worker there, and he's was one of the writers. Now he's full-time writer for Reservation Dogs, and and a play or two. So, well, before we get too much further, Ogama, I will just say a few things here. I was disgusted, and maybe at the end of the show I can play a little 2-minute clip, but I was disgusted to hear what was going down in education hearing in at the state capitol. Of course, the Republicans want to defund education as much as they can. Me being a former teacher and knowing that all those funds need to go to needed people and students, and they definitely want to put it in a bank account for charter schools and all these other things for the students, and it's just not right. So might talk about that the fourth segment, but before I get too more mouthy, I'm going to hand it over to Ogama with the news. Welcome, Ogama.
Bonjour, Anin, everybody. I'm Ogama Ganuikwe. I, as always, have some news for you on Native Roots Radio. I wanted to take a moment to uplift what's happening this coming Friday in water protector news in Minnesota. So there will be a water protector who will be seen in court in Itasca County related to the March 3rd, 2021 Resist Line 3 event that happened near Grand Rapids on the Prairie River, which is a tributary of the Mississippi River. So on March 3rd of 2021, around 50 people were wrongfully kettled and cited for coming together to draw attention to the 30th anniversary of the largest inland oil spill in the United States history. The spill was caused by the old Line 3, which was operated at the time by Lakehead Pipeline Company, which is now known as Enbridge Energy Incorporated. So now, almost a year later, there is a water protector who is going to be going head-to-head with a judge as a pro se defendant, meaning they're seeking to force the judge to be held accountable to the willful breach of First Amendment rights that they experienced on March 3rd. The event will be happening at the Itasca County Courthouse in northern Minnesota. So if you have the ability to get there at all to offer support for this person, you can bring signs, supporters, friends, and wear warm layers. Again, that's this Friday, February 25th at Itasca County Courthouse. They plan for everybody to be there around 9 a.m. As court's going to start at about 8:15 a.m. Show up however you feel comfortable showing up. There's going to be speakers and foods. There is some more information if you wanted to check out on some resistline3.com. You can find out some more contact information if you need help coordinating logistics to get there. And then if you haven't yet, or if you haven't heard of it yet, make sure that you're checking out, or if you can spare anything, there is a legal defense fund for those who were arrested or are facing charges related to the Line 3 pipeline protests and water protection events in Minnesota. You can donate directly to them at line3legalfund.com. Again, that's line number 3legalfund.com. So I wanted to take a minute to just uplift that today. The other thing that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about too much recently has been Line 5. But at the end of last week, there was this report that came out, and I'm pulling this article from GreatLakesNow.org by Zara Ahmed. And it's basically that there was this report that came out saying that the closure of Enbridge's Line 5 in Michigan would actually cause very little pain to Michigan or to the oil industry in general. So basically, the arguments used by the Canadian energy company Enbridge to support Line 5 running through Michigan say that if it's closed, there's going to be some sort of significant impact on energy prices for consumers. But the report was released last Wednesday, and it was released. It's called Potential Enbridge Line 5 Closure, Alternatives for Crude Oil Supply to Ontario and Quebec Refineries, and Associated Impacts on Ontario and Quebec Refined Markets. It was prepared for by Myers Energy Consulting LLC, and Martin Myers, who prepared it, has been an energy professional for over 40 years with the oil and gas and solar power industry, including working for 17 years at Royal Dutch Shell Corporation. So this person who wrote this is no stranger to the energy sector here. but they found that there are viable alternatives to Line 5. Line 5 runs from Wisconsin down through environmentally sensitive Straits of Mackinac and then through Michigan into Sarnia, Ontario. But they found that Enbridge's Line 78, which flows through Illinois, through Indiana to Sarnia, could be run at a greater capacity to help recoup lost oil from Line 5, or they could add rail and trucking capacity. And that the impact of these changes on consumer prices for refined petroleum products such as gasoline and diesel fuel in Ontario and Quebec would likely be very modest, to the point that such changes would likely go unnoticed. The report concludes with that topic. So, opponents of Line 5 and obviously the indigenous tribes in northern Wisconsin and in Michigan have been asking for the oil pipeline to be shut down, as well as the governor of Michigan has ordered Line 5 shut down underneath the Straits of Mackinac as well, and that is still an ongoing litigation. But I wanted to just take a moment to lift up that report and let people know that Line 5 is still probably not a good idea. In other news, Robert, you were talking about reservation dogs for a minute there. They are opening up extras to be on reservation dogs. You can go to linktree/resdogscasting, and you can sign up to see if you have the ability or have the option to go be an extra on reservation dogs. You can also follow at resdogscasting on Twitter for more information. So that is really exciting. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that considering my current physical state. But the one thing that you do need to know is they're going to ask you to fill out a form, and they are going to ask you to upload proof of your COVID-19 vaccination. They are a fully vaccinated crew. And then I just wanted to touch base too in some Native news here for somebody from my tribe. The Red Lake Nation has a wonderful youth basketball player named Grace White. She's a junior transfer at Valparaiso University, and she has just topped her 1,000 point mark in District 1 NCAA basketball. So congratulations to you, Grace, and we're very proud of you.
Wow, definitely really proud. And I talked to Bobby about being an extra if they needed a choka, I'd shave, or a junior choka, which is a grandfather. I would shave my goatee and fly out as soon as I could. But he kind of just laughed me off. But you'll hear more of it tomorrow when we interview Bobby Wilson of Reservation Dogs. Up next, Nancy Beaulieu of Bimi'ji 350. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The Midtown Phillips Neighborhood Association invites you to their annual meeting taking place over Zoom Tuesday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. Featuring speakers Michael A. Gozi, CEO of American Indian Community Development, as well as Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board Superintendent Al Bangora. In addition, MPNAI will discuss their annual report of activities and projects during 2021 and talk about their partner organizations, upcoming initiatives, and more. Visit MidtownPhillips.org for more information and a link to the meeting taking place on Zoom.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, we have Nancy Beaulieu, Bimi'ji 350 on the line, and we are really excited to talk to her. I know a lot of things are going on up there in the deep north, and geez, now there's, I shouldn't say now, but we're going to also talk maybe a little bit about Line 5. I know there's some things in the cooker for that, and Wisconsin tribes are feeling it right now and are going to start acting upon that, as we did here for and still do for Line 3 here in Minnesota. Nancy Beaulieu, welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Bonjour, it's nice to be here, Robert. I've had to miss last week due to my mother being in a hospital, but the great news is she's doing better, and I'm feeling better for that. And I want to reflect on Line 5 in regards to Line 3. Obviously, it's our neighbors, our relatives, and what we've seen here firsthand should be a huge red flag for the state of Wisconsin to know that Enbridge is not here in a good way. Many of their campaigns are misleading when it comes to job opportunities. What happened here was there was maybe 9 months of work that was sped up in a untimely fashion, creating the frack outs, the breach in the aquifer. And the thing is, Robert, they left it in a mess with no oversight on behalf of the state agencies. And it was the water protectors that literally had their boots on the ground. Ron Turney from IN and Alex, their drones, capturing the truth about how conflicting they are into their public relations, and sharing how good they are for us when indeed they're everything but what they say they are. And I hope Wisconsin can see what they did here in Minnesota and stop Line 5, because Enbridge will never show up in a good way. It's all about greed and money. And as water protectors, we have that inherent responsibility to protect our water and all living things. And, last Friday we went to court, a handful of us, in regards to Line 3. We were Native American water protectors. Mm-hmm. And we were given a settlement. And that settlement was kind of conflicting with our stand at Firelight. Firelight was the 8-day occupation on Line 3 near the La Salle State Park, near the headwaters of the Mississippi. And we were out there for 8 days in a good way. We were there in treaty. We were there in peace as the treaty is intended. We were there because the freedom of the religion. We were there because we are sovereign as individuals, and collectively we hold sovereignty and also self-determination. And again, we see, the governor and the president and everyone ignoring our pleas to say, stop, you can't do this anymore. And I hope Line 5 has a better outcome than what we've seen here in Line 3, because in the court, the 1855 Treaty Authority Court in White Earth, Minnesota, conflicted us Native water protectors because we stood there to defend our treaties in a good way. We did nothing that was breaking the law, because again, Article 6 treaties are supreme law of the land, meaning we had every right to be there in a good way, and we did just that. But yet, we were offered a stay of adjudication, meaning if you behave in the next 90 days, these charges will go away, but they're still going to be on your record, but you won't be fined for them. So if someone wanted to look it up, they could say, oh, Miss Beaulieu held that easement for 8 days. She wasn't criminalized, but now she's over here at Line 5. Let's hold these other things against her because she doesn't seem to learn. So I think they hinder our record because we're not doing anything bad, but there's so many things it violates, and it violates our civil rights, in regards to the Miranda, the right to legal representation. And we found out Friday in court that the 1855 Treaty Authority, the court itself, does not have money to help us get a lawyer. So we're denied a lawyer through the court because they don't have the money. So that's a violation of our civil rights. And, it just doesn't seem fair that we would have to surrender our treaty to take a settlement, and that defeats the purpose why we were there. And some of us felt like we would be bailing ship if we settled with those agreements, and we're not. So we have till March 24th to find a lawyer or draft a letter on our own requesting those charges to be dismissed per treaty and per many other reasons.
Mm-hmm. So some people took the bargain, and a few of you warriors didn't. Is that my understanding?
That's exactly what happened. There's 6 of us that are Native American, 4 of them being from the 1855 or a descendant, and then 2 of them are relatives from other treaty territories. But again, they were invited as guests under our treaty to uphold their treaty end, because again, treaties are a 2-party agreement. They're very much alive today as the day they were signed. So we not only called on our non-Native allies to hold space with us, we called on other relatives from other territories to come and protect the water, and now they are being criminalized as well. So we feel, after conversation, that those that took the settlement might make it harder for our case, but we feel because treaties are supreme law of the land and all these other things that we mentioned, the freedom of the religion, the sovereignty, the civil rights, the 1855 rights of the Minoman itself give us so many lines of protection. And had they honored the 1855 treaty authorities' rights of the Minoman, White Earth adopted it, we would never, ever even had to step foot in court. So we have to challenge this, as our elders say. We are that group of people that will challenge it. And looking at losing, if we do lose, well, let's just back up for a second. If I take the settlement, stay of adjudication, 90 days, plus a $300 fine. So basically, I'm paying the court $300 to behave for 90 days. And I don't even think they have subject matter jurisdiction. And White Earth, I'm from Leech Lake, and White Earth and Leech Lake were both on the 1855. And I feel, the 1855 Treaty Court is for all of us, but yet don't find me criminalized under a White Earth code. They have a resolution on trespassing. And they're afraid that people are going to come attack or come in a bad way. But we proved that Firelight. We were there in a good way. We were there treaties, and that kind of language shouldn't be used to prosecute us. And so we're going to challenge it, because a 5-person resolution that was made in the White Earth RBC some time ago actually infringes on our treaty as 1855. So there's so many wrongs in the settlement, and I think we are the people that will stand up to it. And if we lose Robert, some of us are looking at multiple fines. I'm looking at 2 myself. If I took the settlement, I could give them $300 for each fine that they're trying to impose on me. So I'd pay $600 and behave for 90 days. If I lose Robert, I'm looking at a $10,000 fine, $5,000 for each.
Wow. Do they want that written out as a check or cash? What are they?
I'd have to say community service there. Can I go clean up the rivers?
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, again, how we see corporate America really running the show here, and how just to back up in the beginning of this fight, that how these foreign companies from a different country can come here with money and spending this blood money. I mean, I've said this to you before, Nancy. I watch the high school tournaments, the hockey and the basketball tournaments here in the cities, just as kind of just something to do. And Enbridge is has ads everywhere. I mean, they're indoctrinating people that aren't in the fight, and they have all this money that they were spending at the Capitol, records amount, and here they are. They're gone now. We had some part-time workers that were Native, and lived up there, and they didn't have unions, they didn't have health care, and we had all these people, 5,000 people at the very least, infiltrate the deep north up there, and so there's sex trafficking that was caught up there. I mean, it's just all these things that we talked about that were going to happen did happen, and here we are left with the remains of people that were fighting for everybody's water, are now going through court processes that are so extreme to non-violent action that it just blows my mind. And this is the United States that we're still dealing with here in 2021 or 2022.
Right. And, and sometimes, it's even our own tribal elected officials not understanding our position or not being there for us. And when it comes to, defending our sovereignty and our treaty, and it's really disheartening to see that sometimes, more often than not, that we're left on our own to defend ourselves, and we don't have a lawyer, and we need one, and how do we get there? And so sometimes because we lack resources to be able to retain a lawyer, we end up surrendering to their laws because we can't afford to fight back, and that's the sad thing. So this is my second time, Beltrami County, August 28th, 2019, I was found guilty. And, I told Judge Melby that day, the second time I went back to court, because a sister and I pled not guilty. And then the second time we went back, we made a pact that we were not going to surrender, because if we surrender, we basically are surrendering to their law when we have an inherent right to protect. So we went in, we're not guilty the second time. Judge Melby says, you're in my 8th District Court. And I'm thinking, Your Honor.
We'll be right back, Nancy.
Okay.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Aho, relatives. My name is George McCauley, Omaha Nation. I'm a citizen of the Omaha Nation in Nebraska, but reside in the Twin Cities area. As we head into wintertime, many of us will be back together indoors. It's important to make sure you receive your COVID booster shot. Those 65 and over are recommended to receive their booster dose. Older Americans are more at risk for complications for COVID-19. So get your booster shot to make sure you stay safe and healthy this winter. All 3 COVID vaccine boosters have been approved. Find a vaccine site by calling 651-304-9986 or go to this website, vaccineconnector.mn.gov, 651-304-9986. or go to vaccineconnector.mn.gov.
Hi, Minneapolis. This is Randy Rhodes. Listen to me. Weeknights, 10 to midnight, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Check out the award-winning Hazel's Northeast in Minneapolis on the corner of 29th and Johnson for a delicious meal any time of the day. Breakfast favorites include Jean's Mean Fried Egg Sandwich and the Drunken Banana French Toast. While for dinner, try selections like the fabulous Swedish meatballs or wild rice gumbo. Hazel's Northeast is located on the corner of 29th Avenue and Johnson Street, just a few minutes away from 35W. View Hazel's menu, make a reservation, or place a takeout order at hazelsnetogo.com.
This is Angela Warner with Warner Stallion. As a mother of 5, believe me, I'm all about getting the best deals. I'm always looking for a way to save money without compromising on quality. I guess it runs in the family, because at Warner Stallion, we have a team of buyers who are obsessed with getting appliance deals that no one else has. Like right now, we have thousands of appliances in stock at the best price. Then we give you an extra 5% back and fast free delivery. Put us to the test and see for yourself at our 10 Minnesota stores and at warnerstallion.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Snow tonight with a low about 8. Winds could gust up to 35 miles per hour. Then Tuesday, heavy snow at times with a high of 12. Check out Cafe Latte's award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and treats from the bakery made fresh daily. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul. CafeLatte.com.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody, and watching us here on Facebook Live. We are here with Fancy Nancy Beaulieu of Bimi'ji 350, talking about a lot of things. And it's Nancy, it's just really hard sometimes to listen to what's going on up in the deep north, but it makes sense because we have police officers down here that can kill BIPOC people and get only a year or a year and a half in prison, and it's just an upside down world. And the more and more I think about it, Nancy, I feel like we're South Africa, in the 80s. Apartheid is alive and well here in the United States, and it's not being broadcast on TV.
Right. And, it's really a sad story that we're writing here, not you and I or our people, but it's how America has become. And it's, a dishonor that we can't live together in a good way as those treaties intended us to be. And, thinking back about having to go to court and say I'm not guilty, it's like I shouldn't have to do that. But then again, we're at a good point where we have to remind and keep teaching people this is where we're at, this is our shared history, and this is what we need to do to repair it. And I think looking at all the injustices, this is opportunity and time for us to challenge the courts and the systems and everything that's out there that holds us back. Because, basically, like I told Judge Melby back to my first time in court, Your Honor, if I surrender to your law, then I'm giving up my treaty rights. And that doesn't look good. And, sir, you're on stolen land. And they're going to continue to be on stolen land until they honor those treaties. And we say that in a good way. And we just want people to understand is that we can coexist in a much better way. But obviously, especially in the last 4 years, we've seen nothing but divide, and America with KKK in there, 3 Ks, and it's like, this was supposed to be the melting pot. We were supposed to be Minnesota nice, and we're not so nice anymore. And it's like, even thinking about the next project that's coming, the Huber Frontier Project, the OSB boards, the particle boards. There's actually a public hearing session tomorrow up in Onegum from 5 to 7, and one in Deer River on Wednesday from 5 to 7, so people can get some insight to how this is damaging our environment, not just the air, but we're talking about the wastewater ponds. Where are they going to release that into what bodies of water? How are they going to further contaminate the mess they're already leaving behind with Enbridge and all these other things that we're dealing with? So we're just not being heard, Robert, and what are we going to do to change that?
Well, we're going to keep on persevering, and I guess what that means that we're going to talk about this at least once or twice a week on our show here, and then we are going to drop the vote and rock the vote native style here on AM 950 very soon, and really vet out our politicians and ask them the tough questions, and we feel like, the Biden administration has failed us. We feel a lot of our local politicians have failed us, where, up in the deep north, you guys got 9,000 Native Americans to vote for their first time. And we're going to do that again and vote these people out. And that's all we can do, is to keep putting one step in front of the other, because I think what they're hoping is that we give up. And there is no give up. We have 7 generations ahead of us and behind us to we have to really support the 7 generations that that are in our lives.
Right, and I don't think our work is done on November 3rd. Neither. We have to learn that civic engagement piece of showing up after November 3rd to hold these candidates that win their campaigns. We got to hold their feet to the fire, and we got to keep showing up in a good way, in numbers, not just 2 of us going to a city council meeting, and when there's 2 of us, just smut them in the forehead, done, next. Who can we smut next? It's like they take us down because we're in small numbers, but here in northern Minnesota, we are working to build that people power, and we do want to show up, because I think, legislative committees and afterthought is what's important. If we're going to put one step in front of the next one, we have to keep, that means showing up after November 3rd and building on resilient, healing communities where we can learn how to defend our way and our treaties and live in a good way. So I think, moving forward, there is a lot of good work to do. And I think, that is being consistent and being true to your intentions when you hold space. And so I'm actually looking forward to all this, Robert, even rocking that vote one more time and supporting like-minded candidates. And it's really critical that we really pay attention, not to just the elections in November, but we're also going to have those elections in April. What do they call them? The primary elections? Yeah, because if you don't get to the primary and vote your candidates in, you're not going to see them on a November 3rd ballot. So we have to stress the importance of each step and why it matters. And even after November 3rd, why does this matter to us? Because if we're not at the table, we are what's being served. And so I think the work looking here up north at Bimi'ji 350 is we're all treaty people. We're going to build a foundation as a Native community, but we're going to shortly call on more relatives and our allies to come in and build on that foundation. And how do we collectively work to build that power together as treaty people? Because we want to show the rest of the world what that looks like.
Absolutely. Hey, we got more fans here. Nina says, "Thank you, Nancy. You are so brave." And I agree with that. I think one of the things too, Nancy, that we should be starting to talk about is, we had State Senator Mary Kunesh on of Minnesota on Fridays, and she talked about the possibility, and I don't know if Ogama is available to help me remind me of this, but the possibility of 100 and some seats that are going to be open. Wasn't that what she said, Ogama?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was 100 seats. I think it was 30 plus seats that are going to be open in the Minnesota legislature during this election.
Baby time.
What'd you say, Nancy?
Well, yeah, I'll just pop in here for a quick minute. Are you still there, Robert?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe I lost you guys, but it got pretty quiet
No, we can hear you. You couldn't hear Ogama?
No, I couldn't. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry. I did not hear that at all. It was weird.
Well, she said that there's roughly 50 seats that are going to be open that nobody's been running for, and we need to get some allies and Native people out there to run. And
right, and looking at Ruth Buffalo and Heather Keeler, it was all new to them, but they were brave enough to say, I want to give it a try. And they should be examples of, if they can do it, we can do it. Even as a delegate to the DFL party, it's not where I want to be, but I have to be there. And so I had to sacrifice a little of my freedom to help find a place at the table. But you know what, Robert, that's my purpose in life. People are like, wow, you're doing a great job, Nancy. It's like, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And I want more people to step it up and be the next Heather Keeler, be the next Jamie Becker Finn. Do it and give it a try, because there's so many others out there that are willing to help those that are willing to jump in, learn as they go. And that's exactly what some of our sisters did. They jumped in and they learned, and they're powerful and they're inspiring. So I wish I had more time, Robert. I'd love to, but I also have a full-time job. I garden, I do artwork. There's never a dull moment in my life. And I'm thinking someday if I retire from 350, then it's my turn to run.
Yeah. Well, let's vet out some of our relatives across Turtle Island here in the state of Minnesota, and let's get them to run now that the redistricting is done and we understand now where these seats are available and how they've stretched out. What's your feeling about District 8 now that the three tribes are involved in that? Most of the three tribes up in the deep north are now in District 8, which makes sense. But how's that look to get Stauber out of there?
Actually, we've proven many times before that if our people do show up, we can make or break a campaign. It's really up to us, Robert. One, by stepping up and running for those kind of things. Two, making sure you show up and vote, not just on November 3rd, but for the primaries in April. And pay attention to the things that do matter to us. We might not think this world of white man politics don't mean nothing to us, but they mean the world to the big decisions that are made that go against us as Native communities. So I think it's important that people understand how that works. And I think we will win again if we continue to keep showing up, putting that one foot in front of the other, Robert. We got to keep going forward.
Well, hopefully we do, and we realize how much power we have as a BIPOC community, also our allies. If we get out, there's no more. I guess the last 3 or 4 voting cycles have been the most important time to vote, but I think every time is now, and that's why we're here, and that's why you and I talk, and that's why we reach out to our relatives that are politicians, but also our white allies that are running, and support them because we need to.
Right, and there's awesome non-Native allies like Frank Kornstein and Jen McEwen. You know, they're out there, and if we don't know who they are, it's hard for us to make those informed voting decisions. So I think, moving forward to some of the endorsements and sharing those with some of the work we're going to do in the future, we're going to have to make sure we highlight some of our non-Native candidates who align with our values so they too can move it onto the November 3rd ballot, because we need them. If we are not running, we need to support them. And Robert, I don't mean to change the subject, but I know you're going to cut me off in a good way.
You only got a minute left, so go ahead.
Right. So beginning January 1st, 2022, any member of the 11 federally recognized tribes in Minnesota is eligible for a free vehicle permit, providing unlimited access to all 75 Minnesota state parks and recreation areas. And you will need to present one of the following forms of tribal identification at any staffed Minnesota park office. Show them your tribal ID. You can a certificate of Indian blood, or their license plate, or even their tribal card, hunting card. So I think we need to utilize our parks in a good way, because they're our land too, Robert. They are on our land. And so we don't have to pay to park in it anymore. So I want our relatives to go enjoy some of the amenities around these beautiful lakes here in Minnesota. So it's free, January 1st,
right.
2022.
Perfect. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio present Pini Gigi Nancy for all you do. Nancy Beaulieu, Bimi'ji 350. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Don't let COVID spoil winter fun for your family. Get a vaccine or booster. COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, free for everyone, and are now available for anyone over the age of 5. Booster shots are also recommended for everyone 12 and older if it's been more than 5 months since your previous vaccination. To get more tips, schedule your vaccine, or get tested, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. That's ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Children's Minnesota raises up children's health by raising the standards, hands, voices, the bar, the stakes, the questions, and the curtain on raising kids' health to the highest priority. With the most pediatric experts in the upper Midwest, we're setting the stage because kids need us, all of us. So let's raise them up so every kid can reach their best health. Children's Minnesota, the kid experts.
The Midtown Phillips Neighborhood Association invites you to their annual meeting taking place over Zoom Tuesday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. Featuring speakers Michael A. Gozzi, CEO of American Indian Community Development, as well as Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board Superintendent Al Bangora. In addition, MPNAI will discuss their annual report of activities and projects during 2021 and talk about their partner organizations, upcoming initiatives, and more. Visit MidtownPhillips.org for more information and a link to the meeting taking place on Zoom.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This portion is brought to you by Howling for Wolves. We howl for the wolves. Oh, we miss Wendy. Hey, Ogama, we got Jason on the line here, and I wonder if you could, if you do know what Jason's calling about, if you could maybe get a preempt Jason before he gets on.
Yeah, so Jason's down on the front lines of what's happening in the Southwest with the Winnemucca tribe. And I believe what's happening there is there's homes being torn down of elders, I believe by their own people, possibly related to some mining that's happening in that area. Do I have that right, Jason?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Busu, Wabanangis, Koneni, and these Nakas, Nagatsu, and Dunjaba, Nagizi, and Dundam. I'm Jason from Camp McGeezy. Tasia couldn't make it out here, but I'm out here on the front line with a few Camp McGeezy members and Hoka Wichasa. And we're here to hopefully stop these housing getting torn down. It was originally started from Thacker Pass, lithium mine that was going to turn this colony into a man camp, and removing this quasi-sovereign government, which has a rogue chairperson who is a member of the colony but has been appointed by we don't know who, the elders don't know who, no one of the colony knows who yet, but they were appointed chairperson, and they must have made an agreement with Thacker Pass because the colony itself is situated on 25 acres of water and sewer and gas hookups, and it's within reasonable distance of Thacker Pass sulfide mine. And so these elders' homes are getting torn down, and they're saying it's getting torn down because it's just a storage yard and that it's just junk stuff. But these are actual people's homes. This is, if anyone knows anything about Native Americans and how we live, we tend to live simple, live humble, and we don't, and also we just in poverty, both. And there's a lot of controversy with this chairperson and how they're selling out to Thacker Pass, and they don't even live in the colony. They don't even live in the same state. It's in Winnemucca, Nevada, and Amtrak comes right into Winnemucca. It's an easy way to get here. And Defend Wick is their Venmo. Mm-hmm. And there's a horse ride coming up on March 18th. They'll be riding from all the Shoshone Paiute reservations in the area. Mm-hmm. And but this Thursday they plan on demolishing another home So the sooner the better everyone comes out. There's 2 10-acre ranches, one 10-acre ranch and one bigger ranch that's owned by band members of the Winnemucca colony. And they need, we need helpers out here, and we need aid and to defend these elders' homes.
Jason,
So,
before I let you go, is there a place where we can see updates on Facebook? Is it McGeezy? Are they giving live updates so we can send our
yeah,
people
they got a Facebook page. It's called, what is it? I don't want to pronounce it. Noeni Sokama. Sokapa. Noeni Sokapa. It's literally spelled NEWENEESOKOPA. And then Hoka Wiska and myself will be doing TikTok lives, Facebook lives, and stuff like that of things going on. But yeah, we are trying to get the message out, and I'm so grateful that you asked me to come on today.
And we'll have you come on more, Jason. Thank you for all you do, Peeny Gigi, for continuing your work, and we really appreciate that. And we'll be in touch to get more updates. So thank you so much for stopping in.
All right, Migwit.
Oh wow, crazy, Ogama. We could have a 5-hour show every day and still not be complete to what's happening to our communities all across Turtle Island, and not only that, but indigenous communities across the world.
Right. Yeah. And I just wanted to say too, Thacker Pass is the largest known lithium resource in the United States, and the next large scale lithium mine, and that's from lithiumamericas.com. And we know that lithium is used in the production of batteries and those kinds of things, and that the relatives who are trying to defend Thacker Pass also need our help as well. So there's more information on Thacker Pass and protecting Thacker Pass at protectthackerpass.org. And then, as well as if you're watching on social media, I did put up the name of the camp that you can follow on social media to help the Winnemucca community as their elders sounds like are being cleared out to make way for that camp. I mean, I can't say I have any level of surprise about that after watching what happened here in Minnesota with Line 3.
Right. And then prior to that, Standing Rock, and prior to that to the mines out there for nuclear mines out in the Black Hills, and the beat goes on and on and on. And we're still here, and we're not going to stand for this. And we have a voice here all over Turtle Island, people listening to us all over the country and all over Canada. And we just have to stay vigilant. And I know sometimes for you, Ogama, and for me, it's very daunting. It's never ending, but in a good way. We do have to amplify all these voices, and yourself not only mining all the news all across Turtle Island that really affects our people, that people are not talking about.
Right, and that's exactly it. These are the kind of things that are not making ABC, NBC insert letter headlines for our news throughout the country. It's not something that our allies are getting information on or even aware of is happening, and that constant silencing is going to really damage a lot when it comes to the country and the planet. I mean, our native people that are out here that are trying to stop things like Thacker Pass, trying to stop Line 3, trying to stop Line 5. It's not a selfish task that they're undertaking. They're undertaking it to literally attempt to save the world and the people in it. And that means everybody. And the fact that we're consistently silenced in mainstream media is just, it's so unbelievably frustrating.
Well, it's crazy in one sense too, that Mother Earth will always be here, and it's Mother Earth is a living being, and it may get injured and wipe off the human race, but Mother Mother Earth will still be around. And I think it's really funny when people say the world's going to end, and it's not the world's going to end. It's going to be certain parts of the human race, and let's get that straight.
Right, and then we're talking about, somebody mentioned hemp batteries and those kinds of things. In Minnesota, there's talk about a new mining project for mining nickel sulfide in relation to Tesla vehicles and electric vehicle batteries. And we know that electric vehicle batteries with nickel-free batteries are on the way, and we know that hemp batteries are a feasible option for the future. And yet, we're still going backwards in time throughout this. So hopefully things change soon.
Well, Olga, thank you so much. Thank you to Jason. Thank you to Nancy Beaulieu for stopping in. And of course, thank you to all our Patreon. And thank you to my little dog here, Gracie, who's barking. If you are listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. The revolution is kicking into high gear, and I just want to say we are the 7th generation. We're still here, and free Leonard Peltier now.
To bring you the latest in progressive